When I decided to move to Italy, friends told me you'll never afford it on your budget. But what if I told you you can actually live for less than 1500 euros a month? Let me show you how. I'm 54 and I'm planning to retire to the mountains of northern Italy. Not for a luxury lifestyle, but for a simpler, more meaningful one. Specifically in Piemonte or Valle d'Aosta, up in the northwestern corner of Italy. So let's break the cost of living here. Housing, of course, is the biggest factor. In small towns, long-term rent can range between 400 and 700 euros a month. Buying outright a house can go for under 150,000 euros. You can get quite a nice place. We'll get into that in the future. If you do buy, you have to remember the taxes. 2% if it's your main home and 9% if it's the second home. And here's the difference. Main home means you actually register and live there as a full-time residence. A second home is a vacation home and you do not register it as your private residence. Let's talk about utilities. Utilities in Italy are not the cheapest. Expect around 120 to 310 euros a month. And this will include electricity, trash, water, and heating. In the mountains, winters push that number up, and it actually depends on how you heat your home. You can use gas pellets, wood stove, or of course electricity as well. Groceries and everyday life are surprisingly affordable. Fresh markets, local produce, simple meals, and Italian staples keep prices low. For one person, you can plan between 610 to 1300 euros, probably less. Of course, this is not including rent if you do not buy a house. In Italy, small towns can be far cheaper than living in Rome or Milan or maybe Torino. Healthcare is one of Italy's great advantages. As a resident, you can join the public health system, which is called the SSN, which means you pay small co-pays. These are called tickets for some services. Many people qualify for exemptions. These depend on income, age, and other conditions. To be clear, resident means you register locally and enroll in the SSN. And if you want, of course, you can have private insurance on top of all of that. In the mountains, transport is a problem. You will probably need a car. It's quite essential. Insurance can cost a few hundred euros a year, plus you have fuel, maintenance, and road taxes. Public transport works well in big towns. In small rural towns, it's very limited. So if you plan on using public transport, I would check local before deciding where you're going to settle. If you do decide to buy a home and make it your primary residence, you usually do not pay the IMU property tax. For second homes, IMU does apply. The exact rate changes and depends on the local municipality. But even if you don't pay IMU, you will still have to pay the Tari tax, which is the municipal waste fee. So here's the sample budget. Rent will be between 500 and 700 euros. Utilities between 150 and 250 euros. Groceries 250 to 350 euros. Transport between 120 and 180. And let's just take other expenses between 150 and 250 euros per month. That adds up roughly to 1170 euros to 1700. But 1700 is a nice lifestyle. This is for a single person living in a small town. It does not include income taxes and the one-off setup costs of the move. And if you actually do plan to own a home, of course, remove the rent fees, which is then so the answer is yes, you can easily retire in Italy for less than 1500 euros a month. It's not about luxury, it's about keeping a lifestyle. Keeping a good lifestyle. It's about choosing the right location for you. Your numbers will vary, of course, but the lifestyle, that's your choice. Subscribe if you want the full picture. Comment if you'd like me to go deeper into any one of these subjects. And next I will be sharing the 5 biggest challenges of moving to Italy when you're over 50.